Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dreams, Memes, Veggie Supremes.
Welcome.
This is episode 4, and today we're going to be speaking about fitness myths. Episode 3. Episode 3, jumping the gun a bit there. But before we get into the podcast, we're going to start off, as always, with the pizza.
Pizza time.
So, why don't we just skip to phone view?
Oh yeah.
Alright. So this is what we're working with today. So what have we got here, Jack?
A V-spot pizza, large pizza, half and half, with combo gyros on this side.
That's the combo gyros there.
And creamy prawn, is it?
Creamy prawn, it's a new one.
On this side, which is new.
Right, terminate phone view.
It looks delicious.
So V-Spot, for the people that don't know, in Adelaide is a fully vegan pizza bar. So we spoke with Case, really nice guy who owns V-Spot, and another guy, I'm afraid I didn't get his name, I can't remember his name. They've given us the perfect suggestion. Yeah, the perfect recommendation.
Chef's best.
So this is the chef's best, we're getting both. So we've got this one for this podcast, and we've got another pizza coming for the next podcast, because we're filming the Nutrition Myths one at the moment as well. So without further ado, I think we're actually starving right now.
We are a little bit hungry.
So why don't we jump in? Are we going to start with combo gyros?
Yep.
All right, sweet. I don't know how we're going to do this. We're going to rate them individually or what?
Yeah, definitely. It's like 2 pizzas in one.
I don't know if I'm just really hungry or that's amazing. I think it's both.
That's ridiculously tasty.
How crazy is that gyros meat stuff? Obviously fake meat. I used to work at a gyros shop for 3 years. And this is like spot on. Tastes like what we used to have on a pizza.
Do you want to rate it?
I feel bad giving it a 9 because I just don't know how it can get any better. But you just know I don't like giving out 10s just every day. Like it is mind-blowing. Mind-blowingly good.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give it a 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the base would need a tiny bit more work for it to get the 10. Even though it's still really good. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to...
It's like it just brings it down slightly for you.
Yeah. What about you?
I would honestly give that a 10.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How good is it?
It's very good.
Something. Yeah. That's our first 10.
Creamy prawn. You do the honours?
It's creamy prawn time. Let's see if it can live up to the combo gyros' standard. Holy That's actually so good. It actually tastes exactly like garlic prawns on a pizza. Like,
Yeah.
those prawns are so weird.
I kind of want to just
Case, what are you doing, man? Is this real prawn?
witchcraft.
This is witchcraft? What are you doing in that kitchen, man? I'm going to have to go... Yeah, again, feel bad. I'm going to have to go for a 9 again.
I'm going to give that one a 9.
You can give that one a 9? What
Yeah.
could you change for that one?
Maybe a little bit more garlic sauce, maybe?
Oh, God. Obviously got the slight limitation that I said before of the base. Obviously it's the same base.
Yeah. Maybe I just like gyros more than prawns, maybe that's why.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anything's going to hit the 10, it's going to be something dirty like a gyros pizza or... Oh, man. V-Spot.
Crazy.
Case, you did say... This goes out to Case, you did say that we'd be converted from Domino's for good. And I think you're right, mate.
So, hop into the topic of the episode.
Yep, let's hop into the topic, which is fitness myths. So obviously this is Jack's forte, so it's mainly going to be Jack taking this one. I'm going to be more there in like a questions and clarification kind of manner. But we've got a few AMAs, I'm pretty sure, and Ask Me Anything or Ask Us Anything, as we like to call it, that we're going to go through as well. So yeah, let's hop into that. We've said this before. We do a bit of pre-planning before these podcasts.
Yep.
And Jack's written up some fitness myths.
Five myths that we hear a lot or see a lot.
Yeah,
much.
And do they include your AMAs as well?
No.
So your
and
AMAs,
then one extra one that we asked.
How much value is this guy providing?
Oh my God,
I know.
Straight up front.
Straight up front value.
Payment required.
So let's go ahead and jump into the myths. Jack, what you got first?
So the first fitness myth we've got is going to be surrounding the idea of spot reduction, which is the belief that doing, say, if I did a bicep curl, I would be burning fat from this area here.
Sounds like it makes sense.
You know, you can see some kind of basis behind it if you don't know how the biochemistry works.
Definitely.
But essentially that's a complete and total myth. It's also the same thing that leads to people say doing loads of crunches thinking that's going to give them abs when they're, say, overweight or something like that.
Yeah. How do I hear it just from your clients, from what you've told me, like, how do I lose this bit of fat under here on my arm? Or how do I lose it around my thighs? Or something like that. It's just not true, is it, at all?
Yeah, definitely. So the only real thing you can do is try and burn overall body fat. So reduce your calories you're intaking or increase what you're expending, maybe even both. And then you'll burn overall body fat. And if the genetic gods are kind, you'll lose it from the areas you want. But sometimes you'll lose it from different areas first. So if you lose it from your stomach, say, before your arms, and you really want to get rid of that fat, you just have to essentially keep going.
Is there any science around this, or is there any science that's been taken out of context with spot reduction? Or
not too much that's been taken out of context. It's more or less just the idea that people just assume that if you work out an area, you'll burn fat out of that area. It's a reasonable thing to think if you have no other information. But just doing a little bit of digging, you'll almost straight away find that that's not the case. There was actually a really good study done in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research back in 2013, in which people were put on a 12-week exercise program where 3 times per week they trained just one of their legs, their non-dominant leg. And after the 12 weeks, even though they'd only trained one side, both of their legs lost an even amount of body fat. And even more so, they burnt more fat above the waist than they did on their legs.
Wow.
So that's pretty conclusive. Working out that one leg got them results on both legs in regards to body fat and above the waist as well.
So they just ended up with a bit of body fat loss and one stronger leg.
More or less, yeah. That's not the method of training we recommend.
No.
Definitely not.
Train both legs.
Try and train both legs.
Unless you've only got one leg, or you've got no legs.
Have you seen that one-legged monster on Instagram?
Yeah, I've seen a few of the people on Instagram.
He's a beast.
Yeah, I know, they're crazy. They probably do like more plates than I do 2 legs.
Yeah.
Like, you've just got one leg pumping away. Yeah, it's crazy.
So the other big thing that's connected to that is the idea that, say, doing crunches and sit-ups will give you abs. That's only really the case if you're already lean enough to see your abs, which isn't the case for a lot of people. So you need to work on reducing your overall body fat, and then you can really focus on that. But even then, I'd suggest doing, say, planks, Pallof press.
Wood chops.
Wood chops are good, yeah. All those ones that will work multiple muscles around the abdomen rather than just doing the centre muscles, which is the rectus abdominis.
Yeah.
So just doing that kind of thing will, after or during your body fat loss, will be much better.
Sort of attached to that, but kind of separate, is a lot of people, when they actually train their abs, they don't really do any rotational movements, do they?
Yeah.
There's did you say it's abdominis rectus? Is that what you said? They only
Rectus
usually
abdominis, sorry.
Rectus abdominis the other way around. They usually just train that, essentially, don't they?
Sit-ups and crunches. But
that's it.
Which are fine exercises, but they should definitely be supplementary to core exercises.
Yeah, they do no oblique work or anything like that.
Oblique work. So you want to do stuff like planks, like we've said, and rotational work to really strengthen up more of the stabilizers rather than just the superficial muscles, which are a lot weaker.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, obliques look good though.
Obliques do look good.
Yeah, when they're popping. I mean, I'm not sure if you scroll far down enough on our Instagram, we've got Jordan who got really lean on
the
our program.
God.
Yeah, and he's got godly obliques. Jordan, if you're watching this, you know you do.
We love you, man. All right, number 2. What's number 2?
Myth number 2.
Yep.
Sweet.
So myth number 2 is the idea that doing weighted training is targeted for men, which is just simply not the case. Women should be doing resistance training just as much as men should. Everyone should be doing resistance training more or less for just really simple benefits, just such as like reduced chronic disease, increased bone density, reduce muscular wastage, which is especially relevant if you pass, say, 30 or 40, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Everyone should be doing it. And then you get the added bonus of being able to build muscle, tone up, looking better, essentially. All the things that like a lot of girls will say do cardio because they want to get toned.
Yeah, or the other one is that if they're afraid if they literally touch a weight, they'll turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. They'll like just blow up into like a balloon or something. I don't know what that.
Any kind of pictures you've seen of that are women on steroids.
Yeah.
If they're looking really like manly and big.
Yeah.
Because of there's a testosterone threshold where beyond that you can't really gain any more muscle.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Using steroids.
Yeah. That's pretty much the only variable between men and women, isn't it? It's just essentially the presence of the testosterone hormone. Or is there some genetic factors involved there?
There's some quite interesting research on it that I'll need to check back on, but I think it was Greg Knuckles. He wrote a really good article on essentially the differences, and there was some really good information on what women are actually better at than men in respects to fitness. It's really interesting. I'd give it a read. I can't quite remember what it's called either, but essentially just Greg Knuckles. Women training.
It'll come up.
We'll get it for you.
I think it's just a reality that more men train than women. Can't cite any evidence, but I would say that's pretty spot on to say that. In terms of weight training.
Weight training,
that's what I mean. More men than women weight train. That doesn't mean that weight training is more tailored to men. It just means it attracts more men.
Yeah.
And we should be encouraging women to pick up the weights and have a go, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's always better to start off with a personal trainer. I had a very steep learning curve after I learned a lot from you and other people who were much more knowledgeable than me. When for the first 6 months of my training, I didn't know what I was doing. I still can't remember because I wasn't doing anything that was meaningful.
Yeah.
And you really want to take advantage of those newbie gains that you get at the start. So that's what I would encourage, especially women to do, is have a personal trainer.
Even just a friend who knows what they're on about.
Yeah, definitely.
If they've been training for a while and they like cite literature, say, and seem to know what they're talking about, then just that's definitely someone to train with.
Yeah, because you really, there's no difference between, I love that post you did, there's no difference between male and female exercises. Females should still be, loading up a heavy squat and just going for it.
If you have the same goal as a man, you'll be doing the same exercises as the man. The exercises will be related to your goal rather than your sex.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So that essentially goes back to what I was saying before about how a lot of girls they want to say get toned, summer weather, bikini body, that whole thing, and they'll just walk on the treadmill for hours. And the treadmill was great for burning body fat.
Its purpose,
like increasing the energy you expend, so that if you're eating the same amount, you'll be burning fat essentially. But it's absolutely useless, more or less, for gaining muscle, which is what is essentially what you need to get that tone look.
If that's their goal, then that's what they should be predominantly doing.
Define the muscle groups that make up that look, rather than just losing the body fat.
Yeah.
Because if you've not trained those muscles won't be prominent.
It's not like they're just going to walk on the treadmill and then all this muscle that's just been hidden under fat's just going to come out of nowhere. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know what they think. I mean, I get it. It's naivety and it's ignorance, obviously. I don't blame them. But that's where people like us come in. We want to try and get you past that learning curve, and and there's a lot of people out there doing it. There's a lot of females on Instagram I see doing really good work around getting
definitely.
women involved in
that's
weights.
Definitely gotten a lot better over the last couple of years even.
Yeah, although our content's gone a bit downhill recently. Naturally, Stephanie was really good at that. She was like a vegan woman, but I don't know if she called herself a bodybuilder or not, or
fitness model,
kind of thing. But she was just breaking the stigma. Like she was just squatting heavy weights.
And, definitely
getting loads of women interested in doing that kind of thing. And it's good. It's awesome. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Myth number 3. What do you got for us, Jack?
Myth number 3: the fact that some people believe there are exercises that are necessary to do for certain goals. So, if I want to get a bigger chest, I have to do bench press. Let's say I believe that, but then I find out that bench press hurts my shoulder.
Yeah.
Am I just doomed to not have a big chest? No, because you can just supplement it for an exercise that doesn't hurt your shoulder. Say I might do cable flies, or I might do dumbbell chest press, something like that. Something that will work the same muscle group, and I can load up with a decent weight. It will have the same result.
Yeah,
they might not be as optimal as a bench press, but the bench press certainly isn't necessary for reaching that goal.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question. But you would say the bench press is mostly the most optimal exercise for your chest.
Potentially, yeah.
Because you can have the heaviest load on a bench press. Am I right?
But the chest is actually quite an interesting muscle to use because of the fibre direction has an impact on which exercise will be best, which is a bit more complex stuff.
Attached to the shoulder up here, so it comes down
attached
like that, right?
On the clavicle, the shoulder, and the sternum. So the fibres can essentially run predominantly in 3 different ways. And if you have a majority going downwards, you might find that doing dips might be a lot better for your chest. Whereas someone with fibers pointing upwards might find that dips only really do their triceps.
So like everything, it's very individual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just have to...
It's really interesting.
Just have to find out what exercises work for you. Which exercises you enjoy the most, which ones you feel the most comfortable on, and then just work with those ones. And then you just increase the weight over time, do enough volume on it, and then you will get those results. It doesn't have to be the magic exercise. You don't have to do deadlift. You don't have to do conventional deadlifts if it hurts your lower back. Try a different kind of deadlift, or even try a different hip hinge exercise.
I think it's good for fitness professionals to come out with that. And I've gotten a habit of doing this. I'm not saying I'm a fitness professional, but they'll essentially romanticize about the compound lifts, like squat, the deadlift, and the bench. And although they are, like, if am I right in saying probably the 3 best movements, full body movements, they don't supplement that information about the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift with anything like, you don't have to do these exercises, but they're just most optimal. They don't really give that. They just say, like, if you want to grow, you do squats. If you want to grow, you do deadlifts. And the terminology and the language around it, I find is a bit probably off-putting for people. And I can definitely see where that myth. But I mean, that's probably fueling the myth anymore. Right? It's not really the fitness professionals that are saying it. It's just that they're not saying it in the right way, and then people are kind of interpreting it wrong. Kind of be careful about how you're saying it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Instead of saying the squat is the best exercise, try and say, or by saying a barbell squat is the best exercise, I should say, try and say, make sure you include a squat pattern movement in your program. So even if it's a barbell squat would probably be best, but a front squat and a goblet squat and a leg press, even stuff like that, will still achieve the same purpose. Just maybe not quite as optimally, but with adjusted for volume and weight and all those variables, you can still get the same results. And
it's so easy to add that little bit of information in there and not fall into that trap of potentially fueling this myth about having the necessary exercise. It's a pretty easy one to get around.
Myth busted.
Myth busted. Can we get a clip of Adam Savage up? Wait, I'm editing this. Can I get a clip of Adam Savage up? I think I've got like someone.
Clip, please.
Roll it. Yeah, we're in a massive movie. We're in a massive studio right now. So.
Yeah, this is a good one. So the idea we've written down no pain, no gain. So this is probably the stupidest myth.
It's probably one of the biggest though.
It's the idea that if you're not really sore the day after you've worked out, say, you haven't trained hard enough and you need to train harder next time. It's this whole idea pushed by usually people on steroids of just really pushing yourself to the limit, doing 5 sets of 20 on every exercise until you'll collapse, and then, or if you throw up, that's good. You haven't worked out if you've not thrown up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like taken to the extreme, it's horrible, but even moderate belief in that is still quite harmful because you're not going to get the results you want if you don't allow yourself to recover in time. You don't take it at your own pace and progress nice and gently over time rather than just absolutely knocking yourself out for the first little period and then injuring yourself and setting yourself back further. It's a very annoying one.
It is an annoying one, and it's a one that is really peddled by, like, as you said, by fitness professionals. But I've especially seen on social media, they'll take screenshots of their clients messaging them saying, "I'm so sore today," like, and they're like showing that, like, to market themselves or something, and to promote themselves. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, it's all results based. It's everything that it should be. It's results based. It's not how you're feeling the next day. That's just a load of crap. And if you are feeling incredibly sore the next day, perhaps you have gone a bit overboard. Like, especially if you're at the point where you cannot walk. I mean, there's no reason to think that's normal because you hurt and you can't walk the next day. That's not normal.
The way you should think about it is it's very easy to make someone sore. Just
you're not doing a good job.
Do 100 of an exercise you've never done before, and whatever muscle you've worked will be screaming the next day.
That's one that really annoys me, probably just as much as it annoys you. Because I know just how crap it is, and the fact that people use it as to promote themselves. As a good trainer. So it's like, that doesn't mean anything.
Where it can get really dangerous is if you're pushing yourself past where your form stays perfect. You should, even if you hit fatigue, you should hit fatigue with perfect form. The moment that your form breaks, you stop that exercise. That's the basic rule that you should go by. Because as soon as your form breaks, you're vulnerable to an injury.
Definitely.
And if you're say your trainer or your friend or whoever, or even yourself is going, I need to go until I can't do any more.
Yeah.
Then that's when you become susceptible to injury.
Yeah. And even when your form does break down, then you're not actually effectively hitting the muscle that you want to hit anyway. Because say on a bench press, you're going to start moving your shoulder forward and your scapula forward, and you're going to start using more of your front delts, aren't you? Rather than...
You'll still be working your chest, but you're definitely setting yourself up for the potential for an injury.
Yeah,
which is the biggest thing there.
Yeah.
So as soon as just use that basic rule. If you feel like your form's subpar, stop at that point. You should always feel confident that your form is perfect.
So that's a real good tip for a drop set as well. Definitely where the intention is getting to fatigue. Because I'm not wrong in saying that getting to fatigue is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think I read a study on bicep training and tricep training, so arm training, and it was actually really beneficial to put a drop set at the end and go till fatigue right at the end of your last exercise of the day. And I saw some research, I think, quite a while ago into supporting that. So it can definitely sometimes be beneficial, right?
Yeah, well, hitting fatigue is fine as long as you're hitting fatigue with good form. The point that fatigue isn't when you can't physically do any more of the movement. It's when you can't physically do any more of the movement without your form breaking. And with something like a dumbbell curl, that's quite easy because you're just lifting your hand up.
I mean, they're kind of the same thing almost,
With something like a deadlift, that's when that advice might be a bit more iffy because your form will probably break before you feel like you
before you're
couldn't get one more rep maybe.
Yeah.
But in the perfect world, you'd be at the same point with both of those. So the last of the 5 that we've put forwards that we're going to talk about is the idea that 3 sets by 12 reps is the only way to...
The 3 by 12? Yeah.
The 3 by 12 rule that a lot of people... Not so much anymore, which is I'm quite happy to see, but definitely back a few years ago even, it was the thing that you'd get told. If you go to the gym, do 3 by 12 and you'll get big. Do less than that and you'll get strong.
Yeah.
Do more than that and you'll work endurance. It's less clear cut than that.
Yeah.
Going closer to 1 rep will focus more on strength, but you'll certainly still build muscle in the process. The further you move away from that, the more you'll be working endurance, more or less.
Yeah.
And then there's just, throughout that whole period, you'll still be going for hypertrophy. But it's just about what you're focusing on more. So
Definitely.
And I'd say it's more so on an exercise by exercise basis rather than your goal basis. You should be trying to increase your weights on your compound movements, which you'd probably put first. So you'd go lower weights for those.
Yeah,
regardless
more
of your goal.
strength kind of focused, I guess. I don't like saying that, but
maybe if you're not powerlifting, you won't be doing a single rep, but you might do between maybe 3 and 8, somewhere in that range, for your big compound movements like deadlifts, bench press, squats, and then you'll do your secondary exercises like maybe a bent over row, a hamstring curl, something else.
And across all of these exercises, across your whole program, no matter if it's tailored for strength or for hypertrophy or endurance or whatever, you'll still be following the principle of progressive overload.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah. So progressive overload is the mechanism by which you increase the intensity of an exercise. So by moving up the weight or moving up the reps, say, moving up the overall volume or the intensity, bit by bit to improve. And essentially by doing that, your muscles will adapt and you'll grow muscle, you'll get stronger. So it's essentially what you want to do for just about every goal.
Sorry to plug our video in here, but we're going to be making a video soon about how to build muscle. And we're going to go a bit more into depth about progressive overload then, I would imagine. So stay tuned for that. Sorry to plug.
What's the space? So this is a bit of a shorter myth, but essentially it's just breaking the idea that you have to be doing 3 by 12 of deadlifts and then bent over row and then lat pull down and then bicep curl to hit those muscles for size. Yeah, you want to be doing maybe between 3 and 8 for deadlifts. You want to do maybe, what do I say next? Bent over row. 6 to 10 bent over row. 8 to 12 of lat pull down, and then maybe even higher reps for the dumbbell curl, since the biceps are a muscle that responds better for under higher volumes. So maybe going for 2x15, something like that.
Yeah.
That's just an example.
Yeah, so it's very muscle specific too then as well. Like you said, exercise specific before. Yeah, so like the same thing, I guess.
Usually bigger muscles are more strength based, which is
they need a higher load, which makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, you got a bigger muscle, it requires a heavier load for it to be efficiently worked. Yeah.
But it works both ways. A bigger muscle can also typically do more reps.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You can also do it that way. So you can say do some high weight bench press and then drop and do some lower weight but higher rep dumbbell chest press, and you'll get the best of both worlds.
That's something I normally would do.
Yeah.
Do on like a big chest day, or I'd do a heavy chest movement. And then we'd probably move on to something a bit lower weight, high rep.
Yeah, which is how you
do the same on legs. Do a squat and then maybe go to a leg extension with higher reps. It makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely want to do the strength exercise first as well, and then start with the bigger muscles, work to the smaller muscles, or start with the compound movements and move towards the isolation movements. Start heavy, go light. All those kind of trends just work. You definitely want to get the strength stuff at the start. I've actually done quite a bit of research, even though it's not my field, just from the biochemistry of it. Yeah. You've got your ATP phosphate, which is essentially got energy stored in your muscle, ready for immediate use. And it's most efficient in a small amount of time. So when you're getting for that strength set, you need that there. You don't want it to be depleted after doing your 3x12s and then go into a strength set, do you? You want to have your strength set. Be able to get half the weight you might be able to.
Yeah, exactly right. I've done it. I've made that mistake a long time ago. But yeah, and that concludes the 5 myths, I believe.
Yeah. So hopping into the question that we got asked by someone on the Instagram post, was it?
Yeah, over Instagram. I think it was a DM or something. So we're jumping into the AMA. I mean, we call it an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything. But when we put the post up on our social media, we put Ask Us Anything, because obviously 2 of us. But no one knows what AUA is, so I have to put AMA. So what question did you get? I think you got A. Thanks for that. Thanks for the clarification. So what questions did you get for the AMA?
So we only got 1 question for it this time.
I thought we had 2.
No, you got 2, didn't you?
Oh well. I got a few, yeah.
It's fine, we'll get more next time.
I got more questions asked on mine. Not to rub it in.
Nutrition is arguably more confusing. Not even accurate.
No, definitely.
I'd say nutrition is a lot more convoluted and confusing than fitness is, so I'd expect less questions.
Definitely. And I think people are way more humble with nutrition than fitness. I think people don't even want to ask questions about how to train sometimes. Yeah. Because they've got too much pride. Everyone thinks they are doing it right. Yeah. And I found that I was expecting it to be the same in nutrition, for people to be because it's something that you do 3 times a day. I thought people would be the same about nutrition. They would be like, I'm not doing this wrong, don't tell me how to do it kind of thing. It's more like that in the fitness industry, I think. Especially with dudes. Dudes don't like to know that they're doing something wrong. Yeah. I mean, just how embarrassing it must be for a guy when they're doing deadlifts like a scared cat, and you come over and dude, you're going to break your back. Yeah. Oh, the ego, the chunk of ego it must remove. Oof.
Snaps just like their vertebrae. Yeah. So the question was, to paraphrase, does swimming give you man shoulders? That's quite an interesting question that I've not really heard that much before. Never been asked that one before, to be honest. So
it's a myth that was going around more so in England than here.
It's an interesting question. It's essentially asking, if a woman does swimming, I assume casually and not at a pro level, will they develop more masculine shoulders, say? So I'm guessing that means just a lot broader, less feminine.
And I think the trap development, so they get sloped, because usually people will see feminine shoulders as quite squared off, whereas not squared off, you know what I mean? Coming out like that. Yeah. Whereas more men's shoulders go down.
It's an interesting question, because swimming will work your deltoids, which is the muscle in question. And if you do look at a pro swimmer, for example, like some Olympic swimmers, you might see they have quite developed delts. But even looking at those they would be the prime example. They swim every day. And when they're not swimming, they're essentially training to swim. So they might be in the gym, they do a lot of shoulder press and stuff like that. Really trying to train the shoulders. and yet they still have smaller shoulders than what you'd expect from what I'd describe anyway as manly shoulders.
Yeah. So it's not even that bad anyway.
Yeah.
And they're not just swimming, like you said. That's a really good point.